original, brother. One owner.
This is the iconic Kawasaki Z1 900. These bikes were Kawasaki's entrance and answer into the large cc inline 4 market created by the release of the CB750 in 1969. The Z1 was a beast of a bike with 82 horsepower on tap and over 130 mile/hour top speed. This bike, however, hasn't been going anywhere fast as it's been sitting since about 2005. The owner of this bike has commissioned Seth and I to get it running yet again so they can ride and enjoy it for years to come. So let's get to work. You know, we could have used that when we were pushing this thing in.
Yeah.
Extra hand.
Found it.
Yeah. So of course on the lift we have the Z1. So this is a 1975. It has a really cool story. This is a one owner bike. And the person who owned it, he passed away a number of years ago. And the current owner, his daughter, actually has commissioned me to get this thing running. So what the plan is we are going to just kind of comb this thing over and see what it would take to go ahead and get this thing back on the road. So we will kind of do a few levels here, a couple levels of kind of revival, so to say. And so we'll start building up a parts list, kind of getting an idea of how much it's going to need, but this is definitely a very cool bike. I'm still undecided on if this is green or if it's blue, because in the sunlight I thought it had a little bit of a green hue to it, but here in the camera that looks pretty accurate. It looks pretty blue. Just a gorgeous bike. We have not had hardly any Kawasaki's in here, and I've had a number of comments kind of mentioning that, like, why don't you get some Kawasaki's? Well, here's the Kawasaki. How about that? Until I find an H1 or an H2, which I'm not really after, but who knows? Somebody could call me today and be like, hey, I've got this old bike in my shed. Would you like to buy it from me? And I will probably say yes. So, I don't know, what are your thoughts on this thing? Seth, what do you think about Kawasaki's?
I don't know if I've experienced them enough to form an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, same kind of thing for me, really. I mean, I have the KLR, and then back right there under the stairs, I've got the KZ750 Twin. And other than that, we just recently did a little KZ400 Twin that was like the most buttery smooth bike ever.
That was quite a joy to ride.
Yeah, really, that thing was a nice bike.
Yeah.
So this is going to be fun. We're hoping to revive it and see how far the owner wants to go. So this is going to be a fun one.
2 hours later.
Okay, it's been a couple hours since that last clip. Seth has been hard at work on just kind of going over this thing and seeing kind of what it might need. So, gonna bring up an interesting conversation here, and that is the restoration versus preservation. So, I'm gonna kind of let Seth take over here. We'll talk about what you have found, and we'll kind of form an opinion after that.
Well, obviously there's things that have to be addressed for this to be a functioning and riding bike safely, which that's going to be tires, going through the brakes, rebuilding the calipers, new brake lines, just things that tend to wear with age and you really can't just continue to use without it being a safety issue.
Yes, I mean, safety is very important over maybe complete originality. Like, it's kind of silly to try to ride on old cracked brake lines because they're original Kawasaki.
Yeah, like there's a point where it just becomes senseless. So all that, of course, needs to be addressed, like a new chain.
Yeah, I mean, that's normal stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff you would go through in a typical build.
Seat. Luckily, this is not the original seat, but man, this pan is gone.
And that's something that will probably also be addressed because that's pretty terrible.
Yeah. Now the pipes themselves, these things are in pretty, whoop, these things are in pretty darn good shape. I'm just actually now seeing a hole right here. Damn.
There's one on this side too.
Oh no. There's a little hole. Well, I stand corrected.
That's unfortunate.
They're in pretty good shape still, but that sucks.
That does.
That sucks. 14,000 miles. You know, it's all here. It's all together. We're getting ready to actually do a bore scope, and we'll do a compression check, but just peeking in the cylinder number 4. Wow.
It was nice, like really nice.
So, yeah. Something to our surprise, these side covers were actually kind of hanging off of this thing, and we thought the tabs were going to be broken. But nope. They are all perfect on both sides. The tank itself is in good shape. It does have a liner in it, right?
Unfortunately, yes, which we're still kind of debating on the best route for that.
Yeah, like what do you do? Because we don't know if it's flaking. It looks kind of okay, but you know, liners are a thing of debate in itself.
Not a huge fan of them personally, but I've heard some people having good luck with them. I just don't prefer them.
Like, of course, I've used liners in plenty of bikes, and it's usually a last resort thing. I've made plenty of videos on doing liners, and I only use Caswell from here, but you know, shout out to Caswell. This is not one of those. So do you take the time to strip it out and then redo it? Or do you just kind of rock it, and if it becomes a problem, then you work on it then? I don't know.
But as far as the tank's overall condition, like, there's really no damage to this tank though. Like, there's a teeny tiny little dent in the side here. But besides some scratches and just wear from being a used daily rider, there's not a whole lot of note.
Yeah, it's really cool. So this is where we kind of get deeper in the woods as far as restoration versus preservation. So in my opinion, one thing that I believe is there are almost too many restorations, or there are over restorations. Something is only original once, and I like to preserve things when possible, and that's also why I like to rebuild parts and reuse things on the bike versus replacing them, because again, it's only original once.
Yeah, that item, that part of the bike is part of an overall history of the bike and the person or people that owned it. Mm-hmm. So it's cool to preserve that.
Yeah, and I think it's like when something is on the bike, if you replace one item and it's like extra shiny and perfect, and then the thing next to it shows its age, then you know it doesn't look right. It doesn't look cohesive and consistent across the board. So, you know, we have to consider what we want to try to repair, replace, focus on with this thing. And instead of a full repaint, my opinion would be to just have this stuff, like just polish it, make it as nice as possible. And I think that would be the best thing we could do to the bike. Mm-hmm. And then take that same approach across, you know, across the entire thing.
Yeah, not necessarily making every single fastener and piece perfect and brand new again, just, I don't know, making it nice and look pretty good, but still having the history that led it up to the point that it is now.
Yeah. And if somebody wanted to buy it in the future or something, I guess they could always restore it and just make it just like every other restored Z1. You know, like we're in the middle of this the CBX restoration right now. This bike was pretty rough. It was not something that could have been a survivor candidate. Now the chassis itself is in pretty good shape, but it needed new body work and it needs like a full engine rebuild and stuff. So that is a different category. Because it couldn't be a survivor, we're going the extra mile and making it a very nice restoration. Now, I don't think we're gonna be capable of doing like a top tier concourse restoration because we have other things to do, to be honest. And we're gonna make it as nice as we can. It's gonna be a great bike, a great example of a factory bike with like some different pipes on it. But yeah, it probably won't be like a 100-point bike. It's gonna be awesome. I don't think that's what we want to do to this.
No.
What we would do. It's not our bike.
Yeah, it doesn't really need that is the thing. It's structurally sound. The bones are there. There's plenty to work with here to make a really nice looking survivor that can just be used and enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this thing even has the cool little tool shelf or whatever pocket thing.
I wish that was done on more bikes because that's really cool.
Yeah, I dig it. And then it has, of course, the factory intake boots, air box. It's got a, newer filter because, like, why wouldn't you? But it has the lid. It's all here, The harness looks like it's in great shape. It needs the elbow grease.
Honestly, that's my favorite type of bike to start with, is to just slowly make nice improvements to it.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of, for me, I like to have a project that can have like weekend tinkering things you can do. And this would be a great example. If you wanted to focus on, like, I don't know, polishing the pipes one weekend, you could just sit there and, like, that can be your Saturday. And, you can continually make improvements on it. But of course, if somebody's gonna outsource this work to us, we have to figure out kind of what we need to focus on. So yeah, I think we're gonna dig a little bit further. We're gonna go ahead and do a bore scope on this thing. We'll do a compression check. We'll hook a battery up to it, see what all lights work, what doesn't. And yeah. But I'd be curious to see your guys' opinion on restoration versus preservation. Do too many bikes get restored? Does it lose its originality or its appeal to you? What are your thoughts on it? Okay, we are rolling. All right, cylinder 1. Very light corrosion up top. Yeah, definitely still oil, like you said. I saw a couple little marks right there. You can see some vertical scratches. But man, there's like no carbon on the pistons. It's incredible. A little dirt and debris right there, you can see.
I think she'll clear right up.
A little spot. For sitting outside exposed, that's super good. I don't really, well, I say outside and exposed, I don't really know exactly how it was stored. Okay, so yeah, a little bit right there. I don't know what's going on right here. I think it's just chunks in the carbon. Or did something fall in?
Kind of looks like squished.
I guess it is just carbon, perhaps. I don't know.
Almost looked like a hole for a second.
A little juicy. We did put some oil down the cylinders, just so you guys know. This was never seized up. It's just got a little junk in it, Yeah, I think it's just carbon chipping off. Cylinder 3. Pretty good. That oil is still clear, so that tells me it probably had the least amount of anything in it. Top of the piston looks really consistent. You want me to kick it?
Yeah.
Okay. About all the way down. You see a slight tinge of color there, but man, these cylinder walls look so good.
Well, better than the stuff we're usually running.
Yeah. That is a lot of oil still. Man, you're right on that.
Yeah.
All right, let me see if I can get this down. All right.
This is definitely the best one.
Cylinder 3 might be, I don't know, up top here.
Oh.
There's a little color, but the cross hatching is there. This is to be completely expected. To me, that looks really good.
A lot better than the Bentley.
Whew. This one rolls over. It's a lot better. Okay. We'll try to kick this a bunch and then we'll go ahead and do a compression check. Okay, cylinder number 1. All right, kicker. Ooh, wait, you know what? That's gonna shoot the oil out of the cylinder 2 right in my face. Now, of course, we do have oil in the cylinders, but even though it might give us a high reading, what we're looking for is consistency across all 4. I think that's going to be the biggest tell.
$100?
100?
Yeah.
Kind of low. Cylinder 2.
Do it a couple more times. Okay. About the same.
105.
105, yeah.
Now we made the claim that on the Bentley, oh, just watch this, we're gonna run it and then our compression figures will be higher, but we had a bad valve in that one, so didn't quite work. All right, cylinder 3. Damn.
155?
155. So I did remark that that cylinder wall looked the best.
That's true.
All right, cylinder 4.
Whoa.
Holy crap.
175?
175. Now again, we do have oil in the cylinders, so I would like to redo cylinders 1 and 2.
Agreed.
I mean, anything over like 130, generally really good. But that is definitely a discrepancy between cylinders 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4.
Huh.
Okay.
130.
130. Could be that oil moving around, we don't know. Cylinder 2, test 2. $115, $120.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's acceptable.
that's acceptable. So we have data. Gets higher, further to the right you go.
Now I'm gonna see if this thing has any life to it at all. So, get this battery hooked up like that. And I guess we'll just hit the key and see what happens. Oh! We do in fact have signs of life. Neutral, oil, high beam. Cool. Flasher. And the light works. I think the flasher's sticky, but that's okay. Cool. Tail light works. Wonder if we got brakes. Oh, that works too. That's crazy. Well, wonder if it'll crank. Sure does. How about that? Well, that simplifies things quite a bit. Ooh, it's not official until the horn works though. Oh, it's junk. Let's see. Looks like we've got an indicator bulb out. That side works though. Got pod lights. Yeah. Sweet. Well, as far as I can tell, pretty much all the electrics are working perfectly. I don't know if it'll have spark. I believe this is a points bike, but I guess we can find out. Well, just for giggles, let's see if we have spark. Does does not appear to be the case, but that's okay. I kind of expected that. Got the carburetors out on the bench. Not really doing much to them at this second. Just want to see what we got to work with. And that's not bad. Like, that will clean up pretty easily. So, yeah, the float's not even stuck. Cool.
Okay, well the Z is on the table here, and Seth has put together quite an extensive list of, you know, kind of the things that of course need attention. There's gonna be a lot of common stuff. Obviously we gotta rebuild the carburetors, we're gonna put fork seals in it, rebuild the brakes, all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna get to work. We're gonna start tearing this thing down. We have our benches cleared off and the tools are actually where they're supposed to be right now, which is rare. So let's dig in.
Let's.
A little rusty?
You could say that.
So the captured nut inside there is no longer captured?
It is uncaptured and permanently affixed to itself. Neat.
It seems like the best method for getting this bolt head off. Did you need safety squints or me?
Yeah, that bolt head came back with a vengeance. I swear I'm not doing that on purpose. With the bike further stripped down, we ran over to the car wash to give it a good cleaning. Unfortunately, we had 40-mile-an-hour winds combined with rain, so the car wash was a complete wind tunnel, chilling us to the bone in the process. A price must be paid to the moto gods. The next day, after the bike had sat with some time to dry, we pushed ahead to get the rest of it stripped down so we can start building it back up.
Well, it's looking pretty sparse right now. This is hopefully the furthest we'll have to take this bike down, but we just did it all at once instead of a little bit here and there. So right now we're working on doing a taper roller steering bearing conversion, and then we're gonna do like swing arm bearings and clean the wheels and wheel bearings, just all the stuff. So I did get the left side of the engine pretty clean. I do have my work cut out for me in this section down here. It's still looking pretty grungy. So hopefully we come up with a cool solution for that other than just straight scrubbing. So yeah, I don't know, what are your thoughts? This thing came apart pretty good. I didn't seem to fight us at all.
No, there was some pretty interesting design characteristics of how this thing is put together. Like, for example, the headlight bucket, not unlike a Honda where all the wiring is just jumbled up into that bucket as tight as it can be.
Yeah, that's not bad.
This is it. So it popped right apart, which was awesome. And just in general, all the fasteners have come out really nicely. There's nothing that's been so rusty and crusty that it's snapped besides the seat, but you know.
Yeah, the seat was not good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not been too bad.
Now, I'm not afraid to say it. Seth was maybe a little afraid to say it, but the history of the Z1, from my understanding, Kawasaki was developing a KZ754 to kind of launch into the market. And in 1969, Honda came out with the CB750. And that one just kind of shook the whole industry and changed motorcycling forever. So what's interesting, Kawasaki went back to the drawing board and then they waited until they came out with a 900, okay? But what I'm seeing is there's just a lot of similarities in like cam chain tensioner design and like starter placement and like your oil pressure switch down here. Just, I don't know, there's quite a few similarities, like your headlight brackets and stuff like that. I don't know. It seems like maybe Kawasaki took some inspiration, but then they put maybe like this much more effort into the engineering, because it just seemed like it came apart really nice, or it was maybe a little bit more thought out as far as the layout. So I don't know, take that as you will.
Daring to say that the Kawasaki was better engineered than the legendary 750 Honda?
No, I did not say that.
I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
I might, no, it was not me.
Just saying.
So that's where I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. Definitely. That is my job here on this channel, okay? I have this hoodie on. This is an entire dissertation from some commenter back in the day talking about my quarter-size garage with my brown grass and stuff. Yeah, I have a knack for pissing you guys off somehow. So anyway, before I talk myself further into this hole, I'm gonna end it off here. Look for parts 2 and 3. We're gonna be doing this, hopefully a 3-part series. Part 2 will be just kind of building it up, doing more work, and hopefully part 3 will be getting it started and riding it. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Look for some more content on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.